Hi, welcome back to Skeletal Muscle Part 3. Factors affecting muscle tension. There are several factors that can influence whole muscle tension in order to move larger and larger loads. Motor unit recruitment, size of the muscle twitch summation, trap effect, and optimal length. Motor unit. Not all our muscles within whole muscle are active during contraction. A small subset of the muscle fibers will be activated based on the need. The smaller subset is a motor unit. So a motor unit is defined as one motor neuron and all the muscle fiber it innervates. This is a single motor neuron. This is another motor neurons, and this is another motor neuron. Motor unit recruitment. Some of the muscle fibers are always active to maintain muscles, even when there is no movement is taking place. This is known as baseline muscle tone. Activation of more motor units to increase tension in the muscle as the load increases. More motor units are recruited, more contraction, more tension is generated, more strength, and more forces. Muscle size. Muscle size or motor unit size is the number of the muscle fibers per motor unit. For example, we are doing some precise movement or delicate movement in our external eye muscle and hand muscles. Single motor unit may contain a dozen muscle fibers. For the powerful movement like legs, the single motor unit may contain 1,500 to 2,000 muscle fibers. There's a difference between the muscle size and the size of individual muscle fibers. This makes the regular person is different from the athlete. Our athletes has more myofilaments within a single muscle fiber in response to the demands, for example, their exercise. So the muscle fiber size increase in the athlete, muscle cell size increase. This is known as cell hypertrophy. Muscle twitch summations. A single action potential in the muscle fiber produces a muscle twitch. As you can see, the stimuli comes in action potential with a single twitch. Muscle contract, muscle relax. Another stimuli comes in, another twitch. In the twitch summation here, while the single stimuli, muscle begin to contract, not until fully relaxed, another stimuli comes in. Thus, the twitch summate. So twitch summation is repeated stimulation can produce sustained and longer duration contraction of the muscles, thus create a greater tension. So muscle fibers can respond to repeated stimuli before they are fully relaxed, and thus it's called twitch summation. What is tetanus? If the stimulus comes in repeatedly and the muscle have no opportunity to relax at all, so the muscle contraction will until a maximum. So maximum contraction here we call tetanus. So if a muscle fiber is stimulated so rapidly and it does not have opportunity to relax at all between the stimuli, maximum contraction called tetanus. After the stimulation gone, muscle will become fatigued. Trap effect or called staircase effect. So trap effect here is increased contraction in response to multiple stimuli of the same strength. So we can see that stimulus comes in, the first stimuli, second stimuli, the tension increase, third stimuli increase again the tensions. So what's the difference between twitch summation and trap effect? effect. That's because in the trap effect, relaxation occurs. Contraction increase because of there's an increasing availability of the calcium in the sarcoplasm, and the calcium still able being pumped back to the sarcoplasmic reticulum. It's like priming our muscles, enhancement of elastic components inside the muscles. The muscle enzyme system become more efficient because the heat is increased. This is like doing warming for our muscles. So optimal length of the muscle is explain the length tension relationship in our skeletal muscles. So you can see here, if the thin filaments and the thick filament are too close to each other, so no place for the actin to move, thus we have no changes in the tension and no tension can generate if they are too close to each other. So otherwise, if it's too far apart away from the myosin cannot attach to the actin at all, so it cannot produce the tension, muscle couldn't contract. So at the optimal length here, so optimal length allows the maximum cross bridges possible to occur. So length tension relationship in the skeletal muscle explain optimal length allows maximum cross bridges produce maximum tension. Learning objective: discuss muscle fatigue, rigor mortis, denervation hypersensitivity, atrophy, hypertrophy of muscles. Explain motor units. Discuss different types of the skeletal muscle fiber and their importance. Discuss the effect of training in the isometric and isotonic on skeletal muscles. Muscle metabolisms. Several ATP are required for the full cycle of excitation-contraction coupling. So first, power stroke of our myosin heads moving actin, myosin unbinding from the actin, active transport calcium pumped back to our sarcoplasmic reticulum, active transport of sodium potassium for depolarizations. So ATP is the only energy source that can be used. So muscle use three metabolic pathways for making ATP. First, aerobic respiration, which is oxidative phosphorylation, anaerobic respiration, glycolysis, followed by the lactic buildup. Alternative method is the creatine phosphate. Oxidative phosphorylation can produce slow and prolonged moderate contraction in skeletal muscles. So, oxidative phosphorylation is an aerobic respiration. It occurs in the mitochondria, main source when oxygen is present. It's fueled by the glycogen stores, especially in our muscles, and glucose fatty acids delivered by the blood. It can provide hours of muscle contraction for prolonged moderate activity. The contraction is lower because it requires delivery oxygen and glucose. Glycolysis produce the fast and high-level intense contraction. Glycolysis is anaerobic. Glucose is broken down to pyruvate acid or pyruvate and produce 2 ATP. In the absence of oxygen, pyruvate acid is converted to lactic acid or lactate, produces minimal amounts of the ATP, but occurs quickly, provides about 30 to 60 seconds of high-level activity. Creatine phosphate produces rapid contractions. So creatine phosphate is stored in the muscle fibers. It provides a rapid source of energy for about 10 to 15 seconds of contractions. So how it works? Creatine phosphate transfers the energy and the phosphate to the ADP forming ATP. So you can see that creatine phosphate transfer one phosphate to the ADP to form the energy ATP. So this is the metabolic pathway producing ATP during muscle contraction and relaxations. So during the muscle contraction, ATP is built by the myosin ATPase to power the cross-bridge stroking, and also a fresh ATP must bind to the myosin to let the cross-bridge detach from the actin at the end of a power stroke before another cycle can begin. So during relaxation, ATP is needed to run a calcium pump that transports calcium back into the lateral sacs of the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So ATP is also used by the sodium-potassium pump to return the sodium-potassium move during contraction, inducing action potentials. So the metabolic pathway supply the ATP is needed to accomplish contraction and relaxations. So 3A here is creatine phosphate, and we can see that the phosphate being transferred to the ADP to form a ATP. This will use as an immediate source of energy. 3B, oxidative phosphorylation. There must be an oxygen present. So fueled by the glycogen derived from the muscle glycogen stores, or by the glucose or fatty acid delivered by the blood. Another, glycolysis, is a main source of energy while there's no oxygen. So pyruvate is an end product of glycolysis. It will be converted into lactate with no oxygen present. To prevent the pyruvate undergoes oxidative phosphorylation. So we will continue in part 4. See you later.